Johonaya Chashai, coming in through center, please. Jahono kota I chaya kano koya. Akano koya kashai. Good. As we come in, starting to feel this burning in the sacral ranges, this energy within the heart space, this upper chest, atokoshai chahoya. And feeling into this enigmatic design, atoya, tokoshai chaya. So we don't have words or reference, tohoshashi, as this is coming in. There's an unfolding through the heart. It comes also through the front of the mind. There's this beautiful kind of wave or ribbon effect here. It's a very loving energy. Like there is a flow. There is this purpose. Here. It's a very beautiful kind of cream white tone. And let's just release any foreign distortion through this. It's like the way it's been delivered, or how it, the way it has to come through to be delivered, through a foreign system. Okay, good. Coming into the heart space. And coming into the solar plexus, as it comes in here and opens horizontally. I keep getting a feeling of almost like a bow, like I would want to tie this on a package or something. And it's showing up here like it's opened, it's been unfurled, but it feels to me more like talking about how something is presented, how something is packaged. And this is coming into the solar plexus, and it's clearing the solar plexus of, I almost want to say dark matter, leftover residual distortion here, and there's a lot of pressure at the back of the heart as well. Okay, this even feels to be how we presented, or how maybe we were even perceived in the past. There's a refresh or a renewal here now. So that people are able to perceive you in a different way now. There's a clearing of, well, where I would normally say this kind of sphere of dark feminine range had always hung out. So how we have been perceived in the past, perhaps as being dark, or as being the cause of darkness or suffering or something, right? Being painted as the distortion itself. So coming into these shadow energies, because we started to see something odd, and it's been coming through as like a shadow. I don't know why it comes through as like a shadow corpse, but it really felt like when either our energy field arrives in the mother's body, or when, I think it's before we're actually born. Like there's some kind of strange thing that seems to have happened where there's like a shadow or clone version of us that is created, like, and it looked a bit to me like there's something that keeps tabs on like the souls that arrive here. And so there wants to be like a tally, right? Of like, did they arrive? Yes, they arrived. And yet what seems to happen is, yes, there was like they arrived, but it's like plugging in this shadow as a way of representing that rather than the actual soul itself. So it's almost like there's been like a displacement of the true soul light, kosha I chaya, being accounted for, kana kosha I, in some way. But it's like it almost creates this shadow aspect of us that not only, it's not that we necessarily, well, we do experience it because it gets reflected back to us through others, but it's like it's not in us. It's just that this shadow version of us is what other people perceive and interact with rather than the truth of who we are. So it's not like, this idea of, okay, people are projecting your wounds back to you. It's like, actually, I'm not sure that's totally accurate anymore, because it seems like there is a shadow version of us, and this is what people interact with, and therefore how they perceive us or how they then learn to interact with us. But it really has nothing to do with the truth of who we are. But all of this seems to be the dark feminine range. So it's like a two-tone cream color, that is here. But there is something a bit like, I don't know, in the past, was it parasitic? This is where parasitic energies came in. I'm not quite sure. So we're just bringing source light here into this whole architecture to release out any distortion. Okay, I felt that in the brain too. Chokosha I, in the temples of the mind, the base of the brain. Jaho no korokosha I chanaki. Jahota I chatokosha I jaho no kaya takasha shi shanaki chashaki. Where we allow this to dissolve. And there's almost a feeling of like, okay, well, which version am I? Because we've gotten to know our shadow self so well through interacting with other beings here. Chotokosha I, wow. How crazy. The hashashi shinakoya. But again, it brings up this feeling of like, I don't really know what I'm interacting with here. Am I awake or am I asleep? Tokosha I. So, wherever the field has been cloned, Darakosha I, coming into the base of the left side of the spine here. Jarokosha I Chokoya. And, to say these things, it sounds completely insane. There's a part of it that resonates on some level, and yet I would say it's not necessarily the words that we're using. It's just as the energy and the vibration comes up, it's the closest thing that we can describe it as. Kosha I chata kosha I. So don't freak out if this sounds like completely crazy. Kosha I chata ki. And yet on some levels, I know it also brings a sense of relief, because there have been a lot of weird things that we have felt and experienced that we couldn't explain. Jarokosha I. And certainly not explain in kind of acceptable human words or concepts. Chokosha I chataki shoya. Yeah, but let's look at this too in terms of parallel lives, parallel realities. It really feels like, multiple kosha I chaya. Let's just say, we'll experiment with this, right? It's like once a clone is made, it's like then we just duplicate the clone. Like that's really easy. Chokosha I. And it feels like that's kind of what we're seeing here is like just multiple not iterations, because it's the same, multiple copies. Chotokosha I through the feminine range here. So let's look at this from a different perspective now. We're going to look outside of the field here. The father tone comes up here for some reason. Jarokosha I chanokoya daki. Okay, good. Nadarakasha I. Nadarakasha I. Also where we could even say the father range was interacting with these shadow clones of us. Tokosha I choya. Let's come into the back of the mind and let's come into the vision. So we start to see and expose through this. In fact, let's apply the original essence tone into the copies. And either that dissolves or it shocks. It almost like creates a shock into the system here. Okay, what it looks like, because it's like a bunch of them just dissolved and disappeared, there are a few that remained, and that's probably where there are actual traumas or things to be resolved or returned. Yeah, I'm getting like kind of soul fragments. And yet there was like a whole line a whole host of these kind of shadowy figures here. Kashai. Okay, let's come into the back of the ribs on the left side here. There's a big piece here. Charo koshai chanahai kashai. And where this affects into the base of the brain. Where we are reserved, where we are having reservations or hesitation about being our full expression, but really it's because there's like this separation here. Or it's really not separation as much as this is not integrated. It's like whatever this expertise is here is being held out outside of the field. So bringing this in, plugging this in, coming into the spine here. I just also felt this weird like reptilian figure with a crown. Like it felt very female too, in a way. Okay, this is going to sound crazy, but it really felt like this expertise or whatever this quality is in the field that is so sought after was moved into some altered dimension in order that this like weird queen reptile energy didn't get a hold of this. But then of course we know like anytime we do something, like energies will come along and like copy, distort, use it. But at the same time, it's like, is that really what happened? Or is it that we were hiding something outside of the view of these other energies? At the same time, then it feels like it was held outside of our own view. So let's clear this, I don't know, reptilian queen. I want to say like this huntress energy, because it also then feels like the same place where these distorted ranges would have taken over power, seeded into power. So it's one and the same, right? There's something here that shouldn't be here then, but also something that should be here that isn't, and also part of trying to find and locate where this was. Meant having to have a bit of fragmentation here still. I hope all of that makes sense in some way. Yeah, again, it's in the left ribs, but are on the back side. I mean, it feels like it's in the front, but it's really in the back here. Wanting to be brought into the forefront here. And yet really feeling like this has been so hard and challenging, and even maybe fighting this along the way. So clearing through the bones, this organic cellular matter, and through the organelles, clearing the brainstem, good, and feeling this start to clear through the spine. Good. Okay, this feels way better here now. Jaro kosha I chahano yata ki chakoya. Jata ki jato kosha I chata ki. Chahoya chashaki. To kosha I chatakasha shi shanaki. As it is so.